ascended skies, soaring to new heights and new understandings. Butterfly Boy Chronicles, Part 2 on Israel. As we were saying, folks, duality is important to these people. Duality, two sides, not singularity, not reality. Two sides, a lie, two points of view. Look, you have the M there and the cross there, and on this side you have the M there and the cross there. There are many more symbols in this, folks, that you can see that they attach, like two ears and the owl eyes here, this looking like the owl, Moloch, their servant, and such like. But let's just keep with the mathematics, folks. Let's not go into the esoteric. There's more about this picture, folks. There's a lot more. Let me show you. As I was saying to you, the third dimension is represented by 3, the triangle, the tri. Let me show you what that means. What I mean by third dimension. What I mean by the third dimension is a prism, a triangle in 3D, a prism which forms rainbows in your reality. How is that understood? Folks, that is a dimension, a line. There's the second dimension and there's the third dimension, creating your third dimensional vehicle of light, or your third dimensional form, a triangle or a prism. A dimension is a line or an angle. So I'm going to show you what that means. The first dimension is a line. So it's a dot or a line. It's the first dimension. The second dimension obviously then is 2 dots or 2 lines. And there's a few things you can do, like that equal cross instead of the sideways squished out skull and crossbones cross I was telling you about. This is the accurate harmonic cross. But this is what I want to draw your attention to, folks, that in the second dimension you can make 2 parallel lines, just as in the third dimension you can make the prism or triangle, 3. So let me take you back to the Israeli flag and show you. I think it's obvious to you now. You can see the third dimensional vehicle of light. The third, 1 dimension, 2 dimensions, 3 dimensions. 1 dimension, 2 dimensions, 3 dimensions. Or an angle is 1 dimension, 2 dimensions, 3 dimensions. Or 1 dimension, 2 dimensions, 3 dimensions. The angles, folks, the dimensions giving you the third dimensional vehicle of light, the 3D symbol or form. But what are these? Do you remember I just showed you the 2 parallel lines? That's the second dimension, symbolized in the Israeli flag. The second dimension, 2 dimensions, 2 lines, the way you got to the third dimension by adding the third line, the third dimension. Remember I said to you, 1 white thick stripe, 1 white thick stripe, 2 blue parallel lines, 3 triangulated lines. What's the one big white stripe through the center? Yes, folks, it's white light. It's spirit. It's truth. It's the singularity. The oneness. White light. If you refract white light, if you separate white light through a prism, a third-dimensional vehicle of light, a triangle in 3D, two of those is your star tetrahedron, the symbol on the Israeli flag. If you shine white light through a prism, it refracts into a rainbow. You got it, folks. It refracts into a rainbow. White light shone through your third-dimensional vehicle of light, your two prisms, one, two, one, two, creates a rainbow. What do you see in your reality when you are out there in the world? That's right, you see your rainbow. So what is the Israeli flag, folks? The Israeli flag is a mind control program. It's the singularity, the white light, the all that is, the oneness, dominated by the two parallel lines of duality, reality, singularity, manipulated into duality. So one thing, positive, negative charge making energy, left and right creating one seesaw. Imagine you've got a seesaw with its center a seesaw, the scales of balance, and one side is left and one side is right. Well, if you cut the left side off, you're not going to have a very functional seesaw, and if you cut the right side off, you're not going to have a very functional seesaw. You need both sides. It's the law of electromagnetism. Energy is the creation, is electromagnetic energy we are talking about. Energy is electromagnetic. Electromagnetism is created by a positive and negative charge together, functioning together. Magnetism is positive and negative. If you didn't have either one of those, you wouldn't have magnetism, nor electricity, nor energy, nor anything. You must have two sides to oneness. But to separate the two sides, making them two-ness, two separate onenesses, is deception. To say that positive is now separate from negative, and we're going to live only positive or utilize only positive, or in the opposite, negative and only negative, is pretty much where we're at with this deception. We are being manipulated to think in dual concepts, in a dual way, in a two-ness, in a separation understanding, a separation mentality, a divide and rule program. You and me, with separation between and all the differences that can exist. Black, white, male, female. It can be subjective too, like forward, backward, up, down, left, right, hot, cold. All of these create a separation mentality of two-ness, where these things are actually only one thing in two different states. Dark and light is the same state of the same place. The same day became night, the night became day. Simply the light changed. Quite. This mind control program, called an Israeli flag, shows oneness, two-ness, so singularity, duality, and three-ness. Triality, the tetrahedron, in which you are locked and ruled by the Masons with their dividers and their set square, which only create straight lines and angles. Folks, the tool of the Masons is not a compass. A compass is used for drawing circles, for feminine geometry. It's the tool of a naturist, not the tool of a Mason. A Mason builds in straight lines and angles, in a male dominatory pattern, in a male domination form of structure. If you look very carefully, folks, you can see I've drawn it in for you, the final bit. If you have two parallel lines, it's very much understood you have two parallel lines up and down. If you do that, you suddenly square the tetrahedron. Now remember what I showed you 2 minutes ago. The tetrahedron should be inscribed in a sphere. That is its true state. That is its feminine state. From the flower of life, seed of life, fruit of life, tree of life. The state of the electromagnetic orb, the state of your true auric self, is feminine divine, is feminine wisdom, is from the sphere. But also it is from the cube, masculine wisdom, masculine beauty, masculine divine. Yet the masculinity that now surrounds our vehicles of light, the cube, the square, the straight lines and angles, the male dominant society called civilization that creates in straight lines and angles. You know, when you find a structure, if it has straight lines and angles, it's from civilization, man-made, not natural. Because nature works in curves. There are no straight lines and angles in nature. It is a feminine geometry of Mother Nature, not a masculine geometry of civilization. Now, masculine geometry can be and is a masculine divine status, as is feminine geometry, feminine divine. Yet either feminine or masculine geometry in an imbalanced form is dark and becomes evil. And at the moment, we have a masculine geometry, a masculine dominated society, a masculine dominated realm. And it's dominated by straight lines and angles, showing male geometry in place and female geometry, Mother Nature being murdered, which shows that you have a negative male geometry in place, not a positive male geometry. Shows a negative dominant male force, not a positive dominant male force. We have governments, agents, dark agents, sorcerers out there using dark magic. We have dominant forces over us. We don't have positive male forces like councils and chiefs and organizations and groups and neighborhood watches and the true sense of the word communities, communication in unity. We've lost that, and we are now dominated by a imbalanced male domination pattern shown in the Israeli flag in all the ways I've shown it. And this square in its third dimensional form is a cube. Therefore you have the star tetrahedron inscribed in a cube, which means basically you in your vehicle of light are locked into the cube, the black cube, the very black cube that you're seeing the statues going up all over the world. New York, Las Vegas, Paris, black cubes, representing the Black Cube Society, run by BlackRock, alongside Vanguard, under the top dog, the top industry rule and regulator, the United Nations. Soon to become not UN, but WN, one, as in we won, or we are one world, World United Nations. Soon it'll just become world nations. We're heading for the one world order here, folks, the new world order, and we don't want to. So we who are not those heading this way, wake up and no, you are awake, and let's keep going. Those heading the other way, you need to wake up. And I hope this information helps you. Folks, full respect to all of you who are on this, who are up and running, and those of you who are not, have a look at this, take some time, think about it. This geometry is presenting a constant pulse, a constant schematic radiation, a constant form and shape to your mind. Inscribed in the cube, it's very much a domination pattern. It should be inscribed in the sphere, as I mentioned. And if you haven't noticed yet, folks, 390-degree angles makes 360 degrees, so a square is equal to a circle. And there's a great geometry, a great geometrical understanding known as circling the square or squaring the circle. But that's for another time. Look up Pythagoras and you'll find out all about that. Folks, I can't show you any more. The Israeli flag is a mind control program to lock your mind into a third dimensional domination state, so that you can never ascend onwards to the hexahedron, octahedron, and up the dimensional ladder. I hope you understand. No, I hope you understand and got something from this. Just to finish off, I'm going to leave you with an interesting date I noticed. So those of you who know binary sequence and that all coding of computers is in zeros and ones might find that date very interesting. There is a connection to that date that is massive. On that date, the 28th of October 1983, 40 years prior to this date here, 2023. And the 40-year date prior to that, 1943. Yes, folks, the Montauk experiment and the Philadelphia experiment carried out by Tesla in 43 and with Tesla's experimental equipment in 83. The experiment in 1943 was a cloaking device experiment carried out by the US Navy, utilizing Tesla and Einstein and their equipment to cloak a naval vessel, which was very successful. They dematerialized and rematerialized this vessel. In 1983, with the absence of both those geniuses, but with their machinery, they were not so successful in the similar experiment. Seemingly, due to doing these experiments in 43 and 83, a portal was opened. The portal was opened in 43 that reopened in 83, which is why they did the experiment then. On October the 28th, 2023, the portal reopens. That is Tesla's portal. The reasons why that date was chosen for the Montauk and Philadelphia experiment may be the same reason why it's chosen for the Rugby World Cup, and the same reason why these numbers are like this. I will take one step further, folks, and say that the next imminent PSYOP is an alien invasion. We've already seen, I don't know if you have, a big Operation Bluebeam augmented reality dragon ripping apart pieces of a stadium, much like where Rugby World Cup would be found or played. I may be taking one step too far here. I may be reaching, folks, as they say. Or as Richard Robes would say, I may be reaching. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of alien interaction with the human race on the 28th of October 2023 at the Rugby World Cup. That's in 5 days, I believe. Woo! It's getting exciting, folks, whichever way it works out. But interesting dates. Most importantly, a little fun at the end. Most importantly, this seriousness, folks. These are mind control programs. There are plenty of these. There are many countries. Some of the flags may represent positive things. Some may not. You're looking at the mark of the beast. 666. 666. You're looking at the beast. It is real. Ascended skies, folks, soaring to new heights, new understandings, setting us free. The Butterfly Boy Chronicles. This was part 2 on Israel. Signing out.